Hi friends, welcome to this session. In this session we would do sequences and series. So we would do the various kind of progressions and also see the number series which are asked in our CSAT exam. If you look at the question on various progressions like arithmetic, geometric, you would not find many questions in conventional sense, but there are questions nevertheless. But you would find 2 to 4 questions on series every year, right? So this is an important topic. Firstly, we would do the progressions, which means we would understand what is arithmetic, geometric and harmonic progressions. Then we would learn about some of the common series, and then we would go to the two kind of series, which is number series and letter series, which is being asked in a CSAT kind of exam, right? So without wasting any more time, let's go to the progressions first. So arithmetic progression, right? So think about a series 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What is happening here? So if you see 4 minus 2 is 2, 6 minus 4 is 2, 8 minus 6 is 2. So the difference of any two consecutive numbers is the same, right? We call the difference as common difference, right? And this series is arithmetic progression, right? So what we can see is A2, which is the second term, is A1 plus 2. A3 is A2 plus 2 and so on, right? The first term is usually denoted by A1 and the common difference by D, right? So here D is equal to 2. Thus we can say that A2 is equal to A1 plus D, right? A3 is equal to A2 plus D, or it can be equal to A1 plus 2D, right? Similarly, we can deduce that the nth term, which is An, would be equal to A1 plus n minus 1 into D. So this is the common general form of AP. Any term An can be written in this form. So if you put n is equal to 1, it would become A1 plus 1 minus 1, which is 0D. It is A1. A2 would become A1 plus D and so on. So this is general form of arithmetic progression. Another important concept is sum of terms of AP, which is denoted by sigma. R varies from 1 to n AR, which means A1 plus A2 plus A3 up till AN, right? So this is given by this thing, n by 2 whole multiplied by 2 times A1 plus n minus 1 into D, right? So this is a very easy derivation. So let's see how it is derived. If you just see A1 plus AN is equal to 2A plus 2A1 plus n minus 1 into D. A2 plus an minus 1 is also the same thing, right? So in this way you would get n by 2 pairs of this product, right? So you multiply it with n by 2 to get the sum of the whole series, right? So here we are assuming that the number of terms are even, right? Only then you would get n by 2 pairs. Even if the number of terms are odd, you would see that sum of the series is this only, right? And this derivation is not important. This is just for your understanding that how we derived the result, right? But you have to just remember this result, that sum of the first n terms of a series is n by 2 into 2 times the first term plus n minus 1 into D. So here was a question which was asked in CSAT, which was simply based on the sum of the series concept. It says that the penalty for the delay of the work is as follows: 200 for the first day, 250 for the second day, 300 for the third day and so on, with 50 additional each day. If the total work is delayed by 10 days, what is the penalty, right? So it would be n by 2 into 2A, which is 400, plus n minus 1, which is 9 into D, right? So this would be the answer. Whatever the answer comes, you would take that answer, right? So this was a very simple method. Now if the sum of 3 terms of AP is 30, what is the middle term, right? So when we are doing such kind of questions, we assume terms of AP, right? If the first term is A, second term would be A plus D, third term would be A plus 2D, right? What we are given is sum of these 3 terms, which means we are given 3A plus 3d, right, which is equal to 30, and hence a plus d is equal to 10, right? So a plus d is the middle term, and hence it comes out to be 10, right? Since we are assuming these three terms, we can assume such that our calculations decrease, right? So we can assume that first term is a minus d, second term is a, and the third term is a plus d. So what is the benefit of doing this? You would see that this d and this d would get cancelled, and you would straight away get 3a is equal to 30 and a is equal to 10, right? So this was a straightforward way of getting it, right? So whenever you have to assume three terms, you would say, and these three terms are in AP, you would assume it as a minus d, a plus d. If there are 5 terms, what would you do? You can assume them as a minus 3d, right, a minus d, a plus d, and a plus 3d, right? And if you do the sum, all the d's would get cancelled, and you would be left with 5 a's, right? What if you have 4 terms, right? So again, to make the main motive is to make calculations easy, right? So you can do is a minus, it would be a minus 2d here, right, rather than a minus 3d. So here you can do a minus 3d, right, a minus d, a plus d, and a plus 3d. Now here the common difference is 2d, right? If you just see, the common difference is not d, it's 2d, whereas in this term, in this series, the common difference was d, right? Why we are doing this? So that our d get cancelled and we get a value of a, right? So that we directly get the value of a. So this is how you assume things so that calculations are easy. Otherwise also you would find the answer, but the main motive in a competitive exam is to make calculations as simple as possible, right? So next question says, if the sum of 4 terms of AP is 32, what is the sum of middle 2 terms, right? So we know that we can assume them as this thing. Let the 4 terms be a minus 3d, a minus d, a plus d, and a plus 3d. The sum would be 4a, which is given to be 32, and what we have to find? We have to find a minus d plus a plus d. We have to find 2a, right? So 2a would be 16, right? This is as simple as that. Also, since we are given 4 terms, we know that sum of first and last would be equal to sum and second and third, right? So we have 2 pairs of 16, right? So 16 plus 16, obviously the answer has to be 16, right? I hope that you got it. Now next question says, sum of 5 consecutive even numbers is 80, which is the smallest of them, right? So 5 consecutive even numbers is given, right? So we can assume the common difference is d, right? So we can assume it as a minus 3d, a minus, or we can do is a minus 2d, a minus d, a plus d, and a plus 2d. So can these be 5 numbers, right? Is there any problem if we assume these 5 numbers, which is a minus 2d? D is, we know d is the common difference, and d in this case is 4, right? So d is in this case is 2. So we assume a minus 4. To put things in perspective, it's a minus 4, a minus 2, a plus 2, and finally a plus 4, right? So these are the 4 numbers which we assumed. There is nothing wrong in that, right? We can do that. Now sum of these 5 numbers is 80, which means if you add them, you would get 5a, which is equal to 80, or simply a is equal to how much? 16. So the first number would be 16 minus 4, 12, then 14, 16, 18 and 20. So these are the 5 numbers, right? And the smallest one of them would be a minus 4, which is 12, right? So this is the easiest way to solve this question. Otherwise also you can have simply done as the first number is a, second would be a plus 2, third would be a plus 4, a plus 6 and a plus 8. Now here you would see the calculations are increased a bit, right? So you would say, see, it is 5a plus 20, right, is equal to 80, which means 5a is equal to 60, a is equal to 12, right? What is the advantage of this is you straightforward get the answer a, right, which is the smallest term. Here sometimes when you get a is equal to 16, the tendency is you would just tick 16 as the right option, whereas the right answer is 16 minus 4, which is 12, right? So you have to be cognizant of the fact that it asked you the smallest number, right? So this is how we solve this kind of questions. So there would be the questions from AP would be of this level of difficulty only, not more than this, right? We would do more practice in our practice sheets, so don't worry about it. There would be ample practice on this topic as well. Next is geometric progression. Again we'll start with an example. So think about a series 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So it's 2, 2 square, 2 cube, 2 raised to power 4, 2 raised to power 5, 2 raised to power 6. And also think about another series which is 5, 15, 45, 135, 405 and so on and so forth. So what's happening here? Let's look at this series first. It is 5 into 3, then 15 into 3, then 45 into 3, then 135 into 3, then 405 into 3. So next number would be, this can be a question, right? So next number in this series would be 1215, right? And next would be this multiplied by 3, right? So these kind of series where the next term is obtained by multiplying it by the previous term is called a geometric progression, and the common ratio, right, which is multiplied is called the common ratio. The number which is multiplied is called the common ratio, right? So we are saying that a2 is equal to a1 into r, a3 is equal to a2 into r, or it can be a1 into r square. So we can generally say r is the common ratio here, right? a1 is the first term and r is the common ratio which is being multiplied, right? So what we can say is that nth term Tn is equal to a1 into r raised to power n minus 1, right? So this is the nth term of a GP or a geometric progression. There is a concept of sum of GP whose formula is this. It is a1, the first term, multiplied by r raised to power n minus 1 upon r minus 1. So this you have to remember. This is an important formula. The more important formula is when r is less than 1. Think about a series which is 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 8, 1 by 16, and it is decreasing, right? The terms are decreasing. So generally there is a series, these kind of series are given to be infinite series, right? So they are, because after some time it would diminish, it would become very less. So sum of such infinite series is given by first term divided by 1 minus r, right? So this is again an important formula which you have to remember, and which we would see would be applicable in few of the questions which we would do in exercises. Now let's look at a question which will tell you how to assume the terms in a GP, right? So the product of first three terms of GP is 27. If sum is of these three terms is 13, find the sum of first 20 terms, right? So we know if first term is a, second term is ar, and third term is ar square, right? These are the three terms of a GP, right? So we are given the product, which means a, it would become a cube into r raised to power what? Into r raised to power 3 as well. This is given to be equal to 27, right? So we can find what? We can find ar, which is equal to cube root of 27, 3, right? So the first term is, the second term is 3, right? Now we are given sum of these three terms, which means a plus ar plus ar square is equal to how much? Is 13, right? So this would become a quadratic equation, and we have already seen how to solve a quadratic equation, right? So it would become r square, it would become 3 times r square plus 3 times r plus 3 minus 13 is equal to 0, which is 3 times r square plus 3 times r minus how much? 10 is equal to 0, right? Now we have to factorize it so that we get 3 in the middle, right? So 10 is equal to 5 into 2, and a is also there, it is 3, right? So 30 we have to make 30 in such a way that we get some value of r, right? So how do we do it? So 30 can be written as 3 into 2 into 5, right? So can we make factors in such a way that we get 3? No, perhaps we cannot, right? So this is the common mistake which most of us does, right? It's ar is equal to 3, not a, right? So we cannot just write this equation like this. It has to be ar is equal to 3, which means a is equal to 3 by r, right? Now the sum is given to be how much? 13, which means 3 by r plus 3 plus 3r, right? This has to be equal to how much? 13, right? This has to be 13. If you rearrange it, it becomes 3r square plus 3r plus 3 is equal to 13 times r, right? So it becomes 3r square minus 10r plus 3 is equal to 0. So from here you would get r is equal to 3. It would become 3r square minus 9r minus r plus 3 is equal to 0. If you factorize it further, it would become 3r minus 1 into r minus 3 is equal to 0. So r is equal to 1 by 3 or 3, right? So what can be 3 terms? 3 terms can be, it can be 9, 3, 1, or it can be 1, 3, 9, right? So these are the 3 terms of this GP. What we have to now find is, we have to find the sum of first 20 terms, right? So since we have 2 kind of series, we would have 2 answers for it. The first answer would be A1, which is 9 into 1 by 3 raised to power 20 minus 1, this divided by 1 by 3 raised to power minus 1, which is minus 2 by 3, right? So we can leave the answer in this form or whatever the options are, because it's very difficult to find something raised to power 20, right? The other answer would be, the first term is 1 multiplied by 3 raised to power 20 minus this minus 1 divided by 2, right? 3 minus 1 is 2. So the answer would be 3 raised to power 20 minus 1 by 2, right? So these are the two answers from this question, right? We would do many questions on GP in our exercise sheet. Now let's go to another concept, which is harmonic mean, right? Harmonic mean is just an extension of AP. Let's look at a series which is 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 6, 1 by 8, 1 by 10. So you can see that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 are in AP, right? If reciprocals of the numbers given in a series are in AP, we call that series in HP, or harmonic progression, right? So what we can say is AN is equal to 1 upon A raised to A1 plus N minus 1 into D, right? So if you look at this series, A2 would be, A2 is equal to how much? 1 upon A1 is 2, right? So it would be 1 upon A1, right? So 1 upon A1, A1 is 1 by 2, 1 upon 1 by 2 is 2, right? Plus N minus 1 into D, N minus 1, N is here 2, so 1 into the common difference is 2, right? Which is equal to 1 by 4, right? So this is how you find the nth term of HP, right? Rest all the formulas are same. You can apply the sum of the things and all that stuff after taking the reciprocals, right? There are not many questions from HP as such, right? You might have a question where you have to complete the series, right? So in that question you have to see whether it is an HP or not. Otherwise there are not many questions from HP as far as the exam is concerned. There are lots of questions from these series, which is sum of first n natural numbers. Sum of first n natural number means 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n. It is denoted by sigma, and varies from 1 to n. It is given by n into n plus 1, right? Similarly, sum of squares of first n natural numbers, which is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square up to n square, is given by n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. Sum of cubes of first n natural numbers is given by n into n plus 1 by 2 is whole square of this, right? And finally, sum of first n odd numbers is given by n square. Sum of first n even numbers is given by n into n plus 1. So I request you to just remember these formulas, because they would come very handy in few of the questions which would appear in our exam, right? Now let's come to an important topic, which is various kind of series, right? Generally you would get 2 or 3 questions from various kind of series, and the questions are of two type: find the missing term and find the wrong term, right? Generally there is no fixed way out to do these kind of questions. The logic might be very twisted, and you might not get a right answer even after spending 2 or 3 or 5 minutes in these kind of questions. So the best way out is try out these questions for 1.5 minutes, and if you are unable to crack it, just leave it, because you would end up wasting a lot of time, right? Because the logics can be many. In a single question there can be 2 or 3 logics, and you might not get a right answer which is there in choice, right? So just leave the questions after trying it for 1.5 minutes, because you would end up wasting a lot of time, right? So let's take an example and see what is a missing number question. So there is a question which says 2, 4, 6, 8, then there is a blank, and then 12. So what would be the missing number? It would be 10, right? So it's just adding 2 each time to get a 10, right? Now which is the wrong term here? So we can see that 2, 4, 7, 8, 10, 12, right? Everything is even whereas this is odd, so this is the wrong term. Or the other logic is, as I said, there can be multiple logics. We are adding 2 to each time, so 2 plus 2 4, 4 plus 2 it has to be 6, right? 6 plus 2 8, 8 plus 2 10, 10 plus 2 12, so it has to be 6 and not 7. So there are two logics to the same problem. There can be other logics as well, and a questioner or examiner might have a different logic in his mind while setting the question, and you might strike a different logic. So there is a scope of getting a wrong answer as well in these kind of questions. But nevertheless, there are few series which we should keep in mind before solving, and if we keep this series in mind, few of the questions become easy, right? So first series is the prime number series. So there can be questions which are based on the prime number series. For example, the question is 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. What would be the next number, right? We can clearly see that they are prime numbers. Here it has to be what? It has to be 19 and nothing else, because it's prime numbers which are consecutive prime numbers. Now let's go to second question. I'll give you 30 seconds to do this, and then we'll see what can be done in this question. So your 30 seconds begin now. Let's see what is the logic behind this. So this again seems to be a prime number series, but it's slightly different. So what is the difference? So here it is 3, then 5 is skipped, and now 7 is there, right? And then 11 is skipped, 13 is there, 17 is skipped, 19 is there, then 23 is skipped, 29 is there. So one of the prime numbers is skipped each time, right? So the next prime number is 31, it should be skipped, and the next prime number is 37, right? So the answer should be 37, right? So this is plain logic, right? You have to just observe what is happening, right? And sometimes it happens in exam that you are unable to observe it, right? So it's better not to waste too much time on these kind of questions and move on, right? So for example, if in this series I started finding a logic, 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, 7 plus 6 is equal to 13, 13 plus again what? 13 plus this is 6 again, right? So it's not making any sense as of now, right? So I keep on applying various logics, but I am unable to find the correct logic. So it's better to just leave the question, right? Now let's go to this question, which again is based on, since we are doing prime number series, you can easily do these questions. But if there is a mixture of various questions, it might be difficult to find a logic here, right? So in this, it's 3 square, 5 square, 7 square, 11 square. It has to be what? 13 square, right? Which is 169. So it has to be 169. Now let's do this question. You have 1 minute to do this, and then we'll see what's the logic here. So let's do it. If you see 2, 4, 6, 10, all of them are even numbers. We just cannot think that they are related to prime numbers anyhow, right? But since we are doing prime number thing, I'm sure that we would be trying to find a logic through prime numbers, right? So if we start looking at it, what would we do usually? We would see that it's 2 plus 2 4, 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 2 12, 12 plus 4 16, 16 plus 2 18. Doesn't make any sense because we are adding 2 here, again 2, then 4, right? Then 2, then 4, then 2. Now what should we add here, 4 or 2? We don't know, right? So this logic is not working. Now what we can see is, we can see that is it a sum of two series, right? So just look at alternate numbers. 2 6 plus 4, 6 plus 6 12, right? Plus 6, 12 plus 6 18, right? It's not making sense anyhow here as well, right? Look at this, 4 plus 6 10, 10 plus 6 16. Still this series makes sense, so we are adding 6 6 here. 4 plus 6 10, 10 plus 6 16, so 16 plus 6, it has to be 22, right? But what about this term? This we are unable to find, right? Just look at another logic which says is it 3 minus 1 as well, right? So 3 minus 1 4, 5 minus 1 3 minus 1 2, 5 minus 1 4, 7 minus 1 6, 11 minus 1 10, 13 minus 1 12, 17 minus 1 16, 19 minus 1 18. Next has to be what prime number should be there? 23 minus 1, right? So by chance the answer is 22 here only, right? And here it would be what? So 23, after 23 what is the next prime number? It is 29, so it has to be 28, right? So as I said that it might be difficult to get the correct answer in particularly this question, right? So after trying for 1 minute, if you are not getting the right answer, the most advisable thing is just to leave it and come to this question after you finished or after you attempted the whole of your exam, right? Otherwise you would end up wasting a lot of time. Now the question is, find the wrong term. 3 5 7 9 11 13 17, right? Nothing seems to be wrong. These are what? These are odd numbers, right? But if you look very closely, 9 is wrong because 9 is the only composite number. Otherwise others are the prime numbers, right? The next series is addition series. Addition series are arithmetic series generally, right? Arithmetic progressions, or there can be other sort of additions as well, right? So let's take few example. Let's do few example rather, and then see how to approach these kind of series. So the first one is very easy. It's 3 6 9 12 15, a simple arithmetic progression, right? The missing term is 18, right? Just do the next one, which is 2 3 5 12 17 23, and then we have to find the missing number. I hope that you have done it. It's again easy. So it's 2 plus 1, right? 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 5 17. 17 plus 6 23. Then it has to be 23 plus 7, which is 30. So we are adding a digit which is higher than the previous one, which is added to the previous term, right? So this is 30. Next, again you have to find the missing two terms. Again, it's a very famous series called Fibonacci series, right? I have given you the hint. Now find the missing two terms. In Fibonacci series, the first two terms are random, right? The third term is sum of the previous two. So 2 is equal to 1 plus 1, 3 is equal to 2 plus 1, 5 is equal to 3 plus 2, 8 is equal to 3 plus 5, 13 is equal to 8 plus 5, 21 is equal to 8 plus 13. The next term would be 13 plus 21, which is 34, right? And the next one would be 45. Right, or 55. So this is the Fibonacci series. It's a very popular series. So only thing which we can do in this kind of question is we can practice. If you practice a lot, the chances of getting a correct answer would increase manifold, right? So we would have a good practice sheet on these kind of questions, right? The next series, which says 3, 7, 13, 25, 49 dash dash, right? So you have to find the 2 series. It's again an addition series, so that's a hint for you. Try and solve it. I think the number is wrong. It has to be 39, right? Now try and solve it. You would be able to get it. Or let it be 49, right? So as I said, there can be multiple logics, and I was also thinking some other logic, right? Let's change the first term rather. So it has to be 4. Now it seems to be the right question, right? Now try and solve it. I think you would be able to get it. So what is happening here is, firstly 3 is added, right? It becomes 7 is equal to 4 plus 3, right? Is equal to 7. Then it's 7 plus 6. So in the previous term we were adding 3, now we are adding 6. In this we are adding 12, right? In this we are adding 24. In this we should add 48, right? This was one of the logics. The other logic is again yielding the same answer. What we are doing is 4 and adding a lower term, which is 3. So 4 plus 3, 7. 7 and adding a lower term, 7 plus 6, 13. 13 and adding a lower term, 13 plus 12, 25. 25 adding a lower term, 25 plus 24 is equal to 49. 49 adding a lower term, 49 plus 48, right? Whatever we would get should be the answer, right? So there are 2 logics which are yielding to the same result. These 2 logics might yield to different results in few cases as well, right? You cannot do anything about it. Your logic might be absolutely correct, but it is not matching the examiner's logic, so you would not be able to get the correct answer or the marks, right? Next is the multiplication series, right? So again there is a subtraction series as well, which is almost similar to the addition series, right? I hope that you would be able to do the questions on subtraction series similar to the addition series, right? So there would be a multiplication series, then a division series, which is almost the same thing, right? Because multiplication and division are almost the same functions, right? So 3 examples on multiplication series. The first one is pretty simple. We are multiplying the last term by 3, right? That's what we are doing. So this would be 162 into 3 to get the correct answer. What we are doing here, just see, just take 30-40 seconds to do this. The good thing about these questions is if you are able to solve them, you would not take more than 30 to 40 seconds to do them, right? If you are able to spot the logic. So what is happening here? We are multiplying it by 3, then by 5, then by 7, right? Then it has to be multiplied by 9 and then 11, right? That's what we are doing, right? That's what we are doing. So this is 210 multiplied by 9, which is how much? It is 1890. So to check it, just see what do we get if we multiply it by 11. Are we getting 300? 30? Perhaps not. So this is not a right logic. So you have to find the right logic. Right? So this is how the logics go wrong, and you can check what is the right logic. So try and do it. Even I am unable to figure out the logic here, right? So try and do it. Perhaps I'll put this question in assignment and see what would be the logic for this one. Right? Let's go to next question. This is particularly a division series. So this divided by 7 is 720, divided by 6 120, divided by 5 24, divided by 4 it should be 6, right? So this again is a simple one. The problematic thing happens when we have mixed series, right? This particular question was from CSAT, I think 2012 year, right? So this was a mixed series question. But let's do this question first, right? So in this question we have two series alternating. So 1, 3, 5, 7, then it has to be 11 right here. Then there is the other alternate, which is 2, 6, 10, 14, and then it has to be 18, right? If you see, there can be another logic to this. So firstly the number is 1, then the 2, right? So this is 1 into 2. The third number is 3, then 6. So 3 into 6, which is these two numbers are multiples. Then 5 10, then 7 14, right? Then here we could say it would have been 11 and 22 as well, right? And I cannot say that this is a wrong logic or 22 is a wrong answer, but if it does not matches with what examiner has thought for, you would not get the marks, right? That's what I am saying, that there can be multiple logics to a question as well, right? So this is another logic. 1122 is another answer, which is also right. You cannot say that it's a wrong answer. Now let's go to next question, which says 48, 24, 72, 36, 108 and dash dash. Seemingly an easy one, right? So this is 48 divided by 2, right? And 24 multiplied by 3. 72 divided by 2 multiplied by 3. So this has to be divided by 2, which is 54, right? This we have already done before, so let's not do it. So this is all about number series. We have characterized few series so that it becomes easy for us to look at a logic. Having said that, we cannot be very sure, or we cannot practice all the logics, because an examiner can twist a series in any way, right? So you might not get the right answer in these kind of questions. The other common kind of questions which are asked in exam is letter series. So there can be A, E, I, O. What would be here? It has to be U, a series of vowels. Then A, E, right? So A is the first letter, E is the fifth letter, then the ninth. So if you change it into numbers, it would be first, 5, adding 4 each time, 9, then it has to be, if you add 4, 13, then 17, then after Q you have to add 4, so R S T U, it has to be U, right? You don't need even these E1, 5, 9 and all that stuff. This is just to explain you the logic, right? So what you can start counting is, start from A, add 4, B, C, D, E, you get E. Now starting from E you add 4, F, G, H, I, you get I. Now starting from I you add 4, J, K, L, M, you get M, and so on. So you would get a U here in this case. So it is just adding numbers, right? Now these are two numbers and you have to find the wrong term. Again, firstly look how the numbers are moving, right? So if you see RSTU, UVWX, it has to be, if we are adding 4, 3, 3 in each, it has to be X. So X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D. It seems that it has to be X, right? So this, now check with U, UVWX, YZ, AB. So you are adding 7, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. If it is I, let's see, then it has to be P, right? I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, right? So this seems to be wrong term. It has to be XI. So this one is the wrong term. Now then there can be questions which is continued series. So there is A dash C dash B dash AB dash A dash CA dash C. So you have to fill these dashes such that this series start making some sense, right? For example, if I'll do it for you. So if we have ABC, ABC, here again ABC, here ABC, and finally ABC, right? So what you are getting is ABC, 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 ABC repeating itself, right? So you have to look for a pattern which is being repeated in a continued kind of series, right? These kind of questions are there in CSAT, but they are not very common, right? We'll have lots of practice questions based on this as well. And finally, this is a CSAT question, right? It says find the 100th term in this, right? Which is A, then AB, then ABC, then ABCD, then ABCDE, right? So firstly there is just A, which is 1, then AB, 2 alphabets, then ABC, 3 alphabets, then ABCD, 4 alphabets, then ABCD, 5E, 5 alphabets, right? So firstly 1, then 2 alphabets, then 3 alphabets, then 4, then 5, then 6, right? So it's sum of first n numbers. So you have to find sum of first n numbers such that you get something nearby 100, right? So first sum of first 20 numbers, let's see how much are they. 20 into 21 by 2, it is equal to 210. Sum of first 10 natural numbers, let's see how many are they. 10 into 11 by 2, it is how much? 55. So obviously it has to be greater than 10. Now let's look at 15. 15 into 16 by 2, right? It is 120. And 15th term has how many? 15 digits, right? So it has to be something like a 14, right? If we take 14 into 15 by 2, what we get? It would be 15 into 7, which is equal to 105, right? So in these 105 digits we would get the 100th term, right? So the 14th term would have 14 digits, right? 14 alphabets. First term would be A, then it would be AB, then it would be ABC, and so on. The 16 would have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, MNOP, right? This is 16th, the 13th. The 13th would have up till P. The 14th would have up till Q, right? But what is the 100th term? So if you add these 13, how much would you get? You would get 13 into 14 by 2, which is equal to 91. So this P is 91th. Now this A is 92nd, 93rd, 94th, 95th, 96th, 97th, 98th, right? 99th, and I is the 100th. So I would be the correct answer, right? So this is slightly observation based, as well as we are using the funda of the sum of first n natural numbers, right? I hope that you understood how to do these kind of questions. So again, reiterating, there is no fixed logic and there is no fixed way out of how to do these questions. These are generally puzzle based questions and you have to find the logic there and then itself, and if you are unable to do it, just leave it. That's what I would advise you to do. Otherwise you would end up wasting a lot of time. We would do a detailed practice on these questions, around 100 of the practice questions for these kind of questions, so that you have ample practice and you are able to do the correct thing in the exam. I hope that you enjoyed the video and you have now a clear idea of the various progressions as well as the number and the verbal series. Thanks for watching this video and all the best.